Live from Channel 5, the Texas News Channel. Jane McGarry, Mike Snyder, meteorologist David Finfrock, and Scott Murray. This is Texas News 5 at 10.
Thank you, Brad. We want to apologize.
A victory of sorts tonight for prosecutors in the O.J. Simpson case. A Los Angeles television station apologizes for a story that misled. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Jane has the evening off. Angela Kane is with us tonight. The L.A. County District Attorney's Office is praising the retraction this evening. The
KCBS story claimed that videotape showed prosecutor Marcia Clark on O.J. Simpson's estate before a search warrant had been issued in the murder investigation. Reporter Jim Hanchett has the latest tonight from Los Angeles.
Good evening. Two interesting developments today in the O.J. Simpson case. A Los Angeles TV station forced to air an on-air retraction to a story they aired earlier this week. We'll tell you about that in just a moment. Let's talk about A.C. Cowlings for a moment now. Cowlings' hearing at the courts building today, well, it only took a couple of minutes. A.C. Cowlings must wait a while longer. That's the result of this quick court appearance. Prosecutors say they want 2 more weeks to decide whether to charge Cowlings with aiding a fugitive. The judge says, fine. So the courtroom empties, and Cowlings now has some more time to ponder the changes in his life.
This is AC. I have OJ in the car.
From friend to fame. That's the journey A.C. Cowlings made when he drove O.J. Simpson on that nationally televised low-speed pursuit. Was he saving Simpson's life or helping a buddy run from the law? It's a dicey decision for the district attorney. If he opts to drop the charges, some will say he's going easy on a key figure in a major crime. Cowlings' lawyer is Donald Ray.
This man is a hero. A hero is somebody who risks his life for something that he thinks is important. This man risked his life to try to save his friend. My client shouldn't be charged because he didn't do anything illegal. He was just trying to save O.J.'s life, and in my opinion, that's exactly what he did. He saved O.J.'s life.
Cowlings is free on $250,000 bail. And now an update from a story earlier this week. KCBS TV in Los Angeles reported Simpson prosecutor Marcia Clark was at Simpson's estate the morning after the murders, but before a search warrant was issued, and the station raised questions about Clark's conduct. Now KCBS says it may have aired.
We no longer have any evidence to support our original story. Channel 2, and I would like particularly to apologize to Marcia Clark, the district attorney's office, and to our viewers for this error.
O.J. Simpson, meanwhile, remains in jail. A visit today from his psychiatrist. And with the Cowlings case put aside for a couple of weeks here, attention here does return to Simpson. He'll be at this building next Friday morning to be arraigned in front of a Superior Court judge on 2 counts of first-degree murder. That's the latest in Los Angeles. I'm Jim Hanchett. Back to you now.
And this note tonight, the man who sold O.J. Simpson the knife that prosecutors claim was the murder weapon and then sold his story to the National Enquirer says he got more than he bargained for. He says his life has been a living hell with threatening telephone calls and a ruined reputation.
Back here in North Texas, an attempt to arrest a Parker County man for sexual assault today turned into a shootout and a 6-hour standoff.
Do you have any questions? I didn't kill him, I did.
Donald George Daggett appeared in court cuffed and shackled as the judge told him. He was charged with aggravated sexual assault of a child and attempted capital murder of a police officer. Daggett is in the Parker County Jail tonight under a $2.2 million bond. Police in Carrollton are searching tonight for a man who used a hand grenade to rob a bank and then he left that dangerous weapon laying in the street. The small pineapple-shaped weapon sent people scurrying out of businesses and forced police to close down several streets until the grenade was removed by the bomb squad.
It's time for psychological warfare in Haiti. The United States has hundreds of battle-ready Marines looming at sea and military airplanes beaming radio democracy. In one broadcast, deposed President Jean-Bertrand Aristide said the day of his return is not far off. Word tonight is that Washington has still not ruled out an invasion. A major invasion in space is coming. It's just a day away, and it may be the biggest heavenly collision in human history.
Astronomers tonight are gearing up for huge pieces of a comet to slam into the planet Jupiter. Texas News 5's Scott Gordon has a preview for us tonight.
I got a comet around here somewhere.
For star watchers like Randy Peters of Fort Worth's Noble Planetarium, it may be the show of a lifetime.
Let's see, I've got some slides of Jupiter.
This is something of a sneak peek. Huge chunks of a comet will slam into the planet Jupiter, perhaps creating huge explosions comparable to thousands of hydrogen bombs.
This is an event of astronomical proportions. This is one of those once-in-a-lifetime things to where we're going to see something that we've never seen before and may never see again.
This is a computer simulation of what will happen. About 20 mammoth pieces of a comet sucked into Jupiter's gravity, now on a collision course with the solar system's largest planet. The big question is what we'll be able to see from Earth. Some scientists predict the collision will poke a huge hole in Jupiter's gaseous atmosphere the size of Texas, sparking bright flashes of light. Others think it could be a big dud that we won't be able to see a thing.
I've heard estimates of that's not going to be much, to even the more outlandish things like these things could explode way below the clouds of Jupiter and set Jupiter afire and have it burn for 100 years.
For scientists, the collision could provide new information about Jupiter's lower atmosphere. For all of us, it could be a spectacular show, or maybe a big disappointment. Scott Gordon, Texas News 5.
And the first visible explosion, if there is one, should be at about 10 o'clock tomorrow night. The Fort Worth Museum of Science and History will provide telescopes. They will be set up on the museum's north lawn starting at nightfall tomorrow and every night through next week.
I want to be watching.
I do too.
Chief Meteorologist David Finfrock is keeping his eyes on the skies for a different reason.
Yeah, for a very different reason. David, how's the weather outside right now?
Well, actually, things quieting down across North Texas. We had a few storms earlier, but they have all died away since sunset. A few showers in East Texas, some heavy storms out west that are moving this way. We'll have the latest on those storms coming up.
Thanks, David. Also coming up, the Brady Law.
How long do you really have to wait to get a gun?
30 days. 30 days, I think.
7 days.
About a month, 2 months probably.
What's the correct answer to that question? Public Defender Marty Griffin is firing more questions tonight. His investigation is up next. And then later, want to get out of town this weekend? We'll tell you about some Texas getaways just a gas tank away. Last February, Congress enacted the Brady Law, a law designed to help reduce the number of violent crimes in this country by reducing the ease of obtaining handguns.
But a Texas News 5 investigation reveals a considerable amount of confusion over the Brady Law. Texas News 5 Public Defender Marty Griffin joins us now with that.
A lot of confusion out there and some anger and a lot of questions out there tonight. Does the Brady bill require a 5-day waiting period to purchase that handgun? And can you be denied a gun because of an outstanding traffic ticket, for instance? Well, our investigation shows it sort of depends on where you go to buy that gun. In Erath County, a Stephenville man looks at a handgun for his own protection.
Let's see the ammunition that goes in this.
The gun store employee recommends a larger caliber weapon by telling a bizarre story.
We knew one person that stuck a 25 to his head and pulled the trigger, and it blinded him.
Jeez.
But it didn't kill him.
Well,
and that's kind of scary.
The next day, following the letter of the law after getting Brady approval from local law enforcement officials, the gun store gave the gun to the Stephenville man. There was no 5-day wait. If the same handgun is purchased by a Dallas County resident at this gun store, the customer will not receive it for 7 or 8 days. Gun store owners say 8 days or 8 minutes. The Brady bill does not work.
It's a time-consuming process that, in my opinion, doesn't really accomplish anything other than making it more difficult for honest citizens to buy a handgun.
Citizens who have been dishonorably discharged from the military or have mental problems are supposed to be rejected for guns by federal law. The problem is background checks don't always provide the needed information.
And on the local level, there's nothing they can do. They do the reasonable check, and if they come up with nothing, then the weapon is released.
Of the nearly 9,000 Brady applications the Dallas Police Department has processed since January, some 600 have been rejected. Most of the rejections are for felonies committed. However, Dallas also rejects people with several outstanding Class C misdemeanor warrants for such things as criminal mischief and, yes, traffic tickets.
Traffic tickets are considered a fugitive from justice, and we just deny on that case.
Federal authorities tell us they don't consider it proper to reject gun sales because of traffic tickets. However, they say that Dallas and other police departments are interpreting the Brady bill in their own manner. Law enforcement officers aren't the only ones having trouble interpreting the Brady bill. Dallas Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson voted for the bill.
We needed some kind of protections to limit the number of weapons, assault weapons, in the hands of people that did not have good intent.
The problem is the Brady bill doesn't cover assault weapons. It only covers handguns. The problem is Brady does not require a 5-day wait.
But doesn't it upset you a little bit that there is truly no 5-day waiting period?
It does concern me, and I think what we have to do with that is to wait and see how well that works, to see whether or not it's enough loophole to prevent the intent from working. If that is the case, then obviously we need to take a relook.
Another look at a bill gun owners and gun sellers say does nothing. A bill lawmen say gives them a headache. A bill supporters say saves lives by keeping guns from the hands of hundreds of convicted felons. Now, federal officials say the Brady check catches nearly 250 felons a week trying to buy handguns. But even many lawmen who believe the Brady bill is a nuisance agree that if one felon is caught and denied the right to a handgun, the trouble of the Brady bill to them is worthwhile.
All righty, Marty, thanks. Back roads of Texas are leading some people to a food festival for some unique recipe.
Right along on a one-tank tour to the home of a Southern staple.
Tonight's weather is sponsored in part by McKesson Sparklets.
You take a good old look at that thermometer and you know these are the dog days of summer.
Yes.
And if the heat is dogging you to take a hike, well, just ride along on tonight's One Tank Tour.
The next 4 Friday nights at 10, we'll tell you about some unique getaways within a tank of gas of the Metroplex. And tonight, traveling man Brian Mylar takes us southeast of Dallas to Athens and Murchison for a celebration of a Southern delicacy and to where the burros roam free.
We call them in just like Grandma used to when she called Granddaddy in and out of the fields, but let them know it's time to eat.
And in Athens, Texas this weekend, it's time to eat. Hillbilly kettle corn may be the appetizer, and a few folks might sneak a link or a drumstick, but what food attracts thousands here each year?
Black-eyed pea capital of the world is Athens, Texas.
And this weekend is the Black-Eyed Pea Jamboree, a celebration of a Southern staple.
The black-eyed pea is just good to eat. If you've never had black-eyed peas and cornbread, you're missing something.
There's not too many ways I don't like my peas.
Some of the different recipes have even been passed on to the kids who concocted such delicacies as
pizza, MVP dip, quesadillas, pea gaddy.
And to appease shoppers, there are also booths with everything from clothing and jewelry to arts and crafts. All of this makes the Black-Eyed Pea Jamboree in Athens a 4-star one-tank tour. Not far from Athens, down a country road or two, is another unique one-tank tour destination. It's a place for abused, neglected, and unwanted animals called the Black Beauty Ranch. Tara the elephant was kept on a 5-foot chain in a tiny zoo. Conga was abused in a Florida park. Nim, Chimpsky, and Sally were about to be sold for medical research.
Every animal here has its own story. All of them have come from situations where they probably would have ended up dying.
Instead, they're free to live out their lives on this 1,000-acre ranch. The animals here include a herd of horses, wild burros from the Grand Canyon, and 4 buffalo. Some animals will be returned to the wild, like this pair of white-tailed fawns, and Snooks the raccoon.
She was found in a fire ant bed. She'd fallen from her nest, and nobody could find the mother.
This isn't a zoo, and managers stress that only those who are serious about animals should schedule a tour.
These animals here are not here to entertain anybody. These animals are here, it's like a halfway house.
It's not for everybody, but the Black Beauty Ranch is still a 3-star one-tank tour. Brian Mylar, Travel in Texas, News 5.
Speaking of those black-eyed peas, David says that he heard that they even made ice cream out of black-eyed peas. Well, it wouldn't last long in his heat, I'm afraid, though.
They'll try just about anything down there.
That's stretching it.
I think so. We do have some pretty nice weather, I think, for the weekend, as long as you don't mind the heat, because there is going to be plenty of that. Take a look out this evening. Here's some guys who didn't mind the heat too much. Of course, they did wait till the sun went down for their basketball game, and that's probably a pretty wise choice. At Pike Park, Kent Harrell found them hard at play there on the court. We are looking at a warm evening after a pretty hot and miserable day once again. Temperatures started out at 72, reached up to 95. that only tells part of the story. The heat index still up above 105, and it'll stay that way through the weekend. Still, at that, temperatures were 2 degrees below normal, but I think we'll bust through that normal range here very shortly. Take a look at the current readings. Right now, it has dropped down to 82, the dew point at 76, humidity 82%, pressure 30.05 and steady. The wind is out of the southeast at 8 miles per hour. Take a look here at the rainfall up to date. Now, this is looking at the entire year thus far. So far this month, we've had just about 4.5 inches of rain. Now, that's at DFW Airport. Some residents of Collin and Denton County have seen 10 and 15-inch totals. Typically, though, through the first half of July, we should have only 1.15 inches. This year, for the total, we're up to 21 inches. Normally, through July 15th, it would be about 19.29. So we're about 2 inches above normal on the year. Take a look at the Texas map. You'll see strong thunderstorms rolling into the Panhandle once again. These thunderstorms approaching, but nothing at all in the area right now. The last few showers dying away in East Texas. Around here, we did have one good storm move up through Rendon, produced an inch of rain around 5 to 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and then around Plano, 1.85 inches and some marble-sized hail all fell within about 30 minutes. But all of those storms have died away, and we'll just wait and see if any of those storms from the northwest come down. I think at this point it's most likely that they will be dying away long before they get here. Temperatures warm today as far north as Washington. It was at 92. Also very warm through the northwest, 94 in Boise, Idaho. Cooler on the other side of that front. The cool weather found throughout the plains and across the Great Lakes. And where those two air masses clash, we've got severe storm watches through the high plains of eastern Colorado, the Nebraska Panhandle, and western Kansas. In the upper levels, there's that low pressure trough, the one that's been setting off the rain, but it is sliding eastward, and as a result, I think our rain chances will be steadily decreasing as we head through the weekend. A lot of rain back east tomorrow, but around here, it looks like we're just about through with our rain chances. For the Metroplex, we'll start at 75, should see a high of 97 Saturday afternoon. Temperatures on Sunday will range from 76 to 98. Can't completely rule out a stray shower or two here or there in North Texas. Most of us won't see a drop, though. It looks like it'll stay on the warm side through next week.
All right, thanks, David.
And sports is next.
Live from Austin, this is Cowboys Camp 94, sponsored in part by your North Texas Chevy Geo dealers. Here's Scott Murray.
Hello again, everybody, on this Friday night, live from Austin. Day one of training camp has come and gone. The players are in the fold, and their first practice of 2 days coming up tomorrow morning and afternoon here at St. Edward's University. Before we show you what transpired earlier today here at St. Ed's, let me bring you up with some breaking news tonight from the Cowboys front office. They have announced the oral agreement on 3 contracts from 3 draft picks. Number 1 pick, Shante Carver. Number 3rd round draft pick, George Hegeman. And 4th round draft pick, Dwayne Dotson. All 3 fellas expected to be here in camp in Austin tomorrow. As we said, 2 days begin tomorrow morning with a new head coach by the name of Barry Switzer. And that brings to mind the first video we're going to show you tonight. Earlier this afternoon, Jerry Jones, the Cowboys owner over the last 5 years, welcoming Barry Switzer to town. Of course, this is UT country down here in Austin. But Switzer, before the day was over, even gave him the old hook 'em horn sign during his press conference. Oklahoma, though, in college football now behind him. He's committed to the Cowboys and the NFL and a chance at a 3rd straight trip to the Super Bowl for this Dallas Cowboys team. Comments earlier today from the rookie coach in the NFL.
We're going to go play, and we're going to have fun, and we're going to do it my way, and my way is going to be go get after it, baby. I'm ready to go do it. I said on that press conference day, I was ready. I am ready today. I'm finally getting around to do what I want to do, and I'll be glad to get rid of you guys where I can go do it and say I'm going to do 1 interview a day, and that's it, and let me go coach. Let me go do what I want to do.
Now, the fact that Switzer is replacing Jimmy Johnson and because the Cowboys have won back-to-back world titles easily explains why there are already hordes of media types on hand. No less than 25 video cameras recording the press conference involving Barry and Jerry Jones earlier today. And prior to that, take a look at what all those mini cams were busy doing earlier today. Catching the players arriving here at St. Edward's University in Austin. All we're doing by 3 o'clock this afternoon. Now they get ready for another summer of training camp here in Austin. Comments earlier today from 12-year vet Bill Bates.
The zoo is here again, and it's begun. So, you know, I can see why you know, the Super Bowl championships camp, they're going to have more cameras than ever this year.
Did you get this kind of welcome wagon in Motown?
No, not quite. I don't think the town was so excited about the team as they are here.
Some changes on this team since they won the Super Bowl back in Atlanta in January. Gone are KXAS, Gogan, Jones, Kozar, Murray, Norton, Giesick, and Thomas Everett. But the man who replaces him certainly no slouch because he made the rounds of the talk show hosts in the offseason as a result of the, well, one of the most incredible games in the defensive laurels of professional football. We talk about Super Bowl 28, and we welcome the runner-up for the MVP award to his teammate Emmitt Smith, James Washington. Welcome, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Getting ready to have a great season, and this is where it all starts.
Let's talk about what lies ahead here in 1994. The very fact that you're coming off such a great game in Super Bowl 28. We've got some video back at the station we can roll right now, but the very fact that you played so well, a lot of people thought you should have been the MVP. You lost in a close vote to your teammate Emmitt Smith, but what a way to come off a great season. That's your last game, don't forget that, and now you get to build on that in 1994.
Well, that was just a springboard. Hopefully that 94, 95 season, and hopefully we continue to play in 95, is that I can just take it to another level.
This is a different team. We showed some of the fellas that are now no longer members of the world champion Dallas Cowboys have gone elsewhere because of the free agent market in the NFL. But I still, the way at least I see it on paper, James, this is still the best team talent-wise in the National Football League. Would you agree?
We're unbeaten.
And until you're beaten, you're still number one, right?
Exactly. I feel that we haven't lost much. I mean, the guys that are replacing the guys that's leaving that was here and played in the first Super Bowl. I mean, that's what a lot of people, like Robert Jones, he was the starting middle linebacker when we won our first Super Bowl. I was the starting free safety when we won our first Super Bowl. So on defense, we haven't lost much, and you know we haven't lost much on offense.
Defensively, though, linebacker Ken Norton Jr., now a member of the San Francisco 49ers. He was the real leader on this team defensively, I think, last year. If there was one guy that everybody kind of looked at or looked to, maybe Charles Haley might fill that void. Yet a lot of people are saying James Washington is the guy that should fill that void. Would you like to fill that void, and is that something you think you can handle?
It's nothing that I've never done. I mean, a lot of people publicly in the media, it was built up for Ken Norton to be the leader. Mm-hmm. We have a variety of leaders on our team. I mean, we have some people who lead vocally. Then we have guys like myself who always lead by just playing hard and leading by example, in the sense of you play hard, you have a good attitude, and good things that happen to you.
Barry Switzer takes over for Jimmy Johnson after 5 years at the helm. Jimmy with 2 back-to-back championships. You've had a chance now to see what Barry's like, mini camps and what have you, quarterback schools. Do you like him? Do you get the feeling that the players, for the most part, like him, respect him, are going to work for him?
I truly must say, before this afternoon, I was telling the public that I did not know this guy. I didn't know what to expect from this guy. After we had a team meeting tonight, and he spoke. And I have the utmost respect for this guy. And this is the type of guy that I would probably give my right nut for.
That's good news to hear from Cowboys fans. I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. Before you get away, I'll tell you what, we're going to tell the folks we're going to take a break and be back with more. You sign our board behind you, and good luck in 94.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, James Washington. We'll be back with Rangers highlights right after this. Welcome back to baseball as we talk now, or welcome back to Austin as we talk baseball up in Arlington. Rangers trailing the Toronto Blue Jays by a score of 7-4. This ball game now in the 8th inning of play. We're going to pick it up earlier on tonight. Bottom of the 4th, Texas trailing by a score of 4-0. Pudge Rodriguez singles to center. Ball gets by Devon White. Ripken and Hull scored. It's been that kind of night at the ballpark. Toronto now leading the Rangers 7-4 in the 8th. Friday scoreboard, American League. Detroit and the KC Royals involved in a doubleheader. Detroit won the opener. The nightcap now, KC up by 2 in the 6th. Cleveland a winner over the White Sox. Milwaukee defeated Minnesota. Numbers in the National League. 2 in Philly, and they split. The Dodgers and the Phils split a pair. 2 at Shea. San Diego lost the opener to the Mets 7-3. And now in the 11th, it's scoreless. The Padres and the Mets in the nightcap. Giants over Montreal 7-3. The Reds beat the Cubs. Pirates beat the Astros. Atlanta got by Florida. And now in the 7th, Colorado is leading St. Louis by a score of 8-6. Out on the links, round 2 of the British Open Golf Championship played at Turnberry in Scotland today. And your leader at the halfway point is 5-time British Open champion Tom Watson. 7 under 133 at the halfway mark. Mark Brooks of Fort Worth with the best round of the day. 6 under 64. Stands at 2 under for the tournament. 5 shots back of Watson. Round 3 is coming up tomorrow. Quick note on the National Hockey League. Mike Keenan, head coach of the Stanley Cup champion New York Rangers, has resigned. Contract problems apparently with the front office. That's it. First practice of 2-a-days coming up tomorrow. We'll have live reports at 6 and 10. We will see you then.
All right. Thanks, Scott.
Okay.
And finally tonight, our Texan of the Week has spent his life giving us joy.
His talents took him to the top, and he is now being enjoyed again across the nation in a revival of his concerts after what he describes as a 16-year intermission. From home plate at the new ballpark in Arlington, he revived his career. A Steinway in the Field of Dreams, the nation's most noble song, and the adoration of his largest live audience ever ended the public silence of the music that made Fort Worth famous. In 1958, this piano man from Fort Worth stunned the music world, winning the Tchaikovsky competition in Moscow. He then thrilled the world in a tour that rocketed him to international fame. His performances, both live and recorded, made such an impact, Fort Worth created its own piano competition in his name to challenge the world's best at the keyboards. And like the Moscow competition back in '58, those who win the Van Cliburn competition now enjoy instant stardom, which in turn has put Fort Worth's star on the music map. He has honored Fort Worth and the music world again with his return. Tonight's concert in Garland is the third stop on a 20-city tour of the nation, part of his way of giving back what he says is the spiritual upliftment that music has given to him. And for those reasons, we choose Van Cliburn as our Texan of the Week. A wonderful man.
He is a talent. And that's our news. Thanks so much for being with us.
For all of us here at the Texas News Channel, have a good weekend, and we'll see you again Monday. Good night.